Seriously, the whole Mercury on retrograde thing, like that's never like what does that even mean? Do you even know what it means?
Yeah, it's like a whole thing. I looked it up one time because I was like, what does this mean? And now I know too much.
Presented by Cedar Sinai. Shifty work into the box. And across, it's in! Oh, it's LaRue!
It's a dream return! Welcome to Casual FC, an Angel City preview pod. I'm your host, Mario Salazar, with the ever making me laugh co-host, Angela Morales.
I try real hard. Most of it happens off the recording because I don't think I could get away with saying half the stuff that we say to each other on air.
But it's all good. It's like that. What's that form? The laughter form of yoga, where like you just kind of.
Oh yeah, you just like laugh and yeah, and it like
lifts your spirits, makes you feel better.
Yeah,
like that's exactly.
It's always good stuff. All right, everyone. On the last episode of Angel City FC, we hosted the OL Reign at BMO on Sunday the 27th. Yeah, 27th?
Yeah,
what's today? Yeah, 28th.
Yeah, it was yesterday. Yes.
Yesterday. This obviously you now know we record on Mondays. What a friggin' game. We won. We brought home we brought home 3 points. We played so well.
Much needed 3 points.
Much needed 3 points. The game was really interesting because the first 10 minutes we just looked a little bit disjointed and like, oh well, like the rain was kind of eating up our defense. Like everything was a little weird. And then out of nowhere, Madison Hammond like throws basically a Hail Mary. Like she just kicks the ball up the pitch to Scarlett, who goes on a tear, pulls their goalie out, which I will say we covered Fallon, their like main goalie in the last episode, but she didn't play. They had their backup goalie, which was weird because I don't think I've ever seen them play with a backup goalie. But so Fallon's not in the goal. It's their backup goalie. Her last name is Dickey, I believe. I don't remember her first name because I looked it up like 4 different times during the game. But Scarlett pulls her out of the goal. Like she comes running at Scarlett, and Scarlett just like blips a little pass to herself to get around the goalie without interfering, and then like turning the ball over, which then pulls their 3 defenders in their back line up. And she hesitates for a millisecond, like the perfect amount of time, passes a through ball over to Clarice Lebion, who is in the, like, it just was the most perfectly executed, patient goal that I have seen this team score. And Clarice put that thing in the back of the net. Alana Cook, who was a defender on the national team, a defender for the Reign, like got eaten up. And it was just like, how in the world did we just make that happen? Like everything that was supposed to happen did happen.
That whole play was a crazy roller coaster of emotions.
It was electric.
I went from ecstatic. The ball was flying down. Camberos got it. She was breaking ankles, taking names, like she was going for it. And then the cross, to me, at the moment, the cross looked awful, like she messed up. Yeah, it looked like a bad pass. And it didn't have any mustard to it. It kind of lazily rolled through, but it had just the right amount of sauce on it because it totally cleared those defenders, those first 2 defenders, because it went all the way to the back post, basically.
Yeah.
And then
we have a similar angle, and we're upstairs, you're downstairs, and we were all like, oh my god, like we
right in front of
just
the goal,
lost
right?
that.
So we just saw it. Yeah. And then
like,
it went to we lost it.
It was perfect.
And then Le'Veon just barreling it in there, and it was amazing.
Oh, like everything changed in that moment. Like that, it went from like, oh man, this is going to be a battle of a game to, oh, we're bringing home 3 points. Immediate overnight, like immediate second to second difference. The team was different. The fans were different. Like, oh man, it was so cool. So play the rest of the half. It's 1-0 at the half. Come out. We get a free kick. Madison Hammond ends up scoring on an assist, basically, from Clarice Lebion. She got the ball up. Madison headed it in, right? Or she kicked it in?
She kicked it in. And I only know this because of the replay. Kids were hungry, so we started walking around the stadium to go get it. And then as I'm nearing towards like the supporters section, we hear everybody like just jump up, and, and I'm like, what happened? We missed it. And then I looked up at the screen, and Hammond had a nice little hop,
nice touch, with
like a touch that, like, from the inside boot, just kind of knocked it in there. It was real sweet. It was real good. It was just perfect.
The funniest thing is I didn't know you also missed it, because at that exact the beginning of the free kick, one of my friends, we had run downstairs to sit with them for a little bit, and everybody sitting by them. She's like, come downstairs. And like, we're all sitting there as my girlfriend, a friend of ours, and I, her husband, and like my friend who sits downstairs, and her husband and their daughter. And she wanted to take a picture of all of us. So we're all posing, and you see like 4 progressive shots of like me looking away from the pitch, looking back, looking down, like smiling. and all of us are like different stages of a goal. I'll send a couple to you. They're hysterical. Yeah. But then we allowed a goal. Pino hit a penalty. Like, she earned a penalty, which was not a penalty. I have so much to say about this.
Again, I didn't see this one, but I had to walk as we were walking down with trays of food. I've got a 6-year-old that I'm trying to make sure she doesn't fall, and then I look up and I see Pino setting up, and I was like, oh crap! I'm like, I'm not about to make the whole row stand up.
Yeah, so, like, okay, we'll just wait.
I told my daughter, I was like, get down. Like, courtesy, I'm going to, like, get down in the aisle. I'm not going to block a bunch of people, too. So, like, we crouch down real quick, wait for the goal. And then in me, I'm like, she's going to stop it. No, she didn't stop it.
She was close. She read it right. Dee Dee read it right. And the thing is that Pino is so good at getting those calls. She doesn't dive. It's not an obvious, like roll around on the pitch. Oh, my God, I got hurt. It's like this. It's the way she reacts to any amount of contact. And she's done it forever. And it's just one of those things where she's just really good at getting the calls in her favor. And normally I have no issue with this because it's been on the national team. And I'm like, if you can sell it, sell it.
But you're in our house.
I didn't. Yeah, but you're in our house and you don't get to do that. Especially because not too long later, Katie Johnson gets tackled from behind in the box, and there was no penalty there. She, in fact, got a yellow card for falling on the ball. I have a lot to say about the NWSL referees, pro refs, like everything that's going on with them. We've talked about it a lot, but like, we need to get more consistent. There was a supposed missed handball, which there's a lot of internet arguing going on. Was that a handball on Alyssa Thompson? Was it not? If you call it a handball,
I will say from my view,
then everything's a handball. Yeah. And that's the hard thing is I saw a couple really good points of if you're like a forward and you're going to kick that into anybody defending you, you're going to do that every time to get that call if that is a handball. So it's like, which one is it? Because there's no clear definitive, like, this is what a handball like looks like, because it's not the same twice ever.
I forgot who said it, but there was like I think in the English league, it was like this quote where it was basically like 5 refs and 5 coaches were all showed the same play and nobody could agree on what the call was.
Exactly. And that's like the epitome of a handball call is like, maybe. But
Yeah, like they stopped it. It looked like they were doing the VA. What they need to bring, and like just bring it now. Don't wait till the next season. Bring it now. World Cup, like one you got to get VAR on the screen. Like if it's being checked and there's a delay, throw it up on the screen, because then you're leaving everybody like, what the hell is going on? Mm-hmm. 2, if you and it didn't happen this time, but if you go to a VAR call, you got to do like the little NFL, like get on the mic and
sideline announcement.
Yeah, or I'm also fine with, get your fastest typer up in the booth.
Yeah.
And whatever the decision, you listen in, whatever the decision is, type it out real quick and throw that graphic
Exactly. Or have like set graphics and you pick one and you put it up there, like something. There needs to be better explanation on what the calls are on the pitch, I think, in general. What else was I going to say? Oh, also, if you're going to bring in World Cup technology, get me those GPS balls. Because there were also a few balls that were out of bounds last night that were not called. Like, completely past that line. But whatever, regardless of all of this, we won in beautiful fashion. And the coolest part is that we are the first team in California to ever beat the rain.
Boom.
Ever. And we talked last episode how we were 0-6 and blah, blah, blah. And it would be really cool to like eke out a win. We did not eke out this win. We grabbed this win and said it's ours. Very decidedly so. Oh, it was just so good. And it was one of those games where the second that first goal by Libyan was scored, everyone was like, the mood shifted. It was very much.
The momentum was totally going in the right direction. So.
Absolutely. All right. So let's check out these standings. There is so much to talk about.
Undetweeded in 9. And yes, this was
my favorite thing.
Undetweeded in 9, baby. I wrote what I wrote and I said what I said.
I legitimately have been laughing about this all day. I love it so much. I first started looking at our notes like early this morning. I took a little break at work and I just pulled them up and I saw it and I sent it to Eva. I was sitting there like giggling, like he undetweeded. I love it. Keep it going.
Let's keep it going. We said in the last pod that ties are not going to help. So ACFC went out and won it. Took the 3 points home. Thanks, Becky, for listening to the pod. We don't want to take all the credit. All the credit is into you.
Take a little bit.
You know what? I'm also going to give the credit to the pod listeners that shared and gave us that good luck that we were talking about. And we said we would deflect that good luck to the team.
We're going to continue to do that through the remainder of the season.
So with the win, we are currently in 9th place. We're tied with Racing Louisville at 21 points. Wouldn't it have been nice if we won that last match? But, whatever. We're in 9th place because of goal differential. And we technically have more wins than Racing, right? There's, win, draws, loss, the way points work. This win over the OL Reign has actually put them on the bubble. They're in 6th place at 24 points. So, like we said last time, they were close to it, and now they're on the bubble. There's a world where the OL Reign doesn't make the playoffs. So
I kind of hope it's this world. I hope it is for our sake, for Pino's sake. I hope she's got a few more games past October in her. But that's different. And I know one of our listeners is going to be so mad that I said that because he is a good friend of mine. He's going to laugh so hard. And I'm going to get a text message when he hears this. We were talking about it on Sunday. It's very much appreciate all Pino has done for the game. She's a fantastic player. Stop cheering for her. We're trying to beat her and her team.
She's an amazing player for the whole league. But when she's in our house, she's going to lose. Like everything will come down to us winning and her losing. So That's completely fine. I mean, I was hoping for that block on that penalty. So
same.
Okay, so we got to keep this win streak going. In the last episode, we were talking about we need 22 points in total to make the playoffs, and now that was a combination of wins plus other teams' losses. Now, crazy number of variables for all of that stuff to happen, but according to my, what did I call it? Took too long making 93% accurate. Took too long to make a bracket. We're now down to 16 points. We need a total of 16 points by the end of the season to make the playoffs. Again, combo of wins and other team losses.
This is like the perfect example of a 6-point win.
Yes.
Because we won, we gained those 3 points, but in turn, OL dropped because they got 0 points. So it's like we get double the amount.
Other teams hop.
Exactly.
So now we have fewer teams in between, and we're good. So the next 2 matches are going to be against teams that are lower on the table than us. The team we're about to play, Kansas City, and the Chicago Red Stars. But, and here's the big but.
Dun, dun.
Kansas City is going to be coming in hot. Yep. They are currently ranked second in big chances created with 29 big chances. And I think that stat kind of comes down to the ability, and please, if I am wrong, let me know and we will correct it on Instagram. But it's basically the ability for the team to kind of move the ball up and get it into that goal scoring position. Whether it equates into a goal or not is not the exact metric we're looking at. It's the fact that they can get past the defenders, get past the mid, get the shot on goal, make it dangerous to the point where it's like, what happened to your team? Well, I don't know. Right. We almost scored. Like that type of thing.
Yeah, and for those who were paying attention last season, or if you don't know from last season, Kansas City was in last place the majority of last season and went on like a 7 or 8 game unbeaten streak to make the playoffs. Like that's what we're talking about in the sense of that like run to the playoff chaos. Like it's just insane, and they're starting to get hot and do it again. Yes, which not in my house or their house when we're playing there.
As I was explaining to a coworker of mine, he was an intern at my office, and he from Japan, and we were talking about, he's trying to get into like NWSL or the MLS, just kind of getting into soccer here. And he asked me like, how are they doing on the table? And then I had to explain to him, he didn't really understand the playoff system. And I was like, all right, we're almost there. At the very least, we're looking to get into 6th place, because then we go into the playoffs. He's like, oh, so it doesn't matter if you like. And I'm like, no. We're not looking for 1st place right now.
No, we're just looking for 6th place.
That's not a thing. We're looking for 6th place. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah. 1st place is next season. 6th place is right now.
Yes, exactly. So Kansas City is coming in with 3 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw in their last 5. But honestly, like I mentioned last time on Flat Mob, there's a little button that says like in the last 5, how would you rank the team? How are the teams ranked? Kansas City is ranked number 1. They're hot right now. In American sports, that's all you need to be is be hot at the end, leading into the playoffs. Get that streak going into the playoff to like make it all the way through. So that's what we're coming up against. Chicago has officially been eliminated from playoff contention with 5 games left. No team has
bummer news.
Wait, are they?
Yeah. Yeah, Taylor Vincent had it on Twitter last night. Who's a reporter and like a statistician. Great follow on Twitter. Yeah, they're saying that no team has been eliminated before this point before. Like it's always been later on in the regular season when people start to get eliminated from contention.
Yeah. And like that's the playoff to the race to the playoff chaos that we've always talked about, where it's like the last couple matches is like it always comes down to the last couple. Teams start dropping off like little by little, but if Chicago's been eliminated now with 5 games left. Dang. And this is the first time they haven't qualified. If they haven't qualified since 2014.
Yeah, and even I was looking this up today because my girlfriend and I were talking about it. She's like, no, I'm pretty sure they've qualified as long as I've been following the NWSL, which was 8 or 9 years. And I was like, let me look it up. And so I did. And the last time they didn't make it was during their transition years from the league prior to the NWSL into the NWSL. So like this is all like transition time. So they are like an original team, a stalwart of the league. And to not make it for their first time in just about a decade, like it hurts for those players. Plus that team is like going through a whole bunch of garbage because of all the stuff that came out with the investigation, the reports that came out, like ownership, like Chicago is going through it right now. And I feel like they're going to end up bouncing back tenfold. They're being acquired by this minority owner from the Cubs, who is a Latina woman. And she's got like a whole bunch of women backers or female backers to help purchase the team. But like they're feeling the impact of all of the hot garbage that has been happening for them this season, which sucks and I hate it. Also, like Mal Pugh is out, who is their like major scorer. So
yeah. So all around not a great year, rebuilding year. That's what you usually say when your team has a shitty year is it's a rebuilding year.
It's a rebuilding year. The unintentional rebuilding year.
Yeah. And so with Kansas City coming in, there's a bit of like, don't sleep on them, especially when it comes to the score sheet and the fact that ACFC has not been able to keep a clean sheet in the last 5 matches.
Okay, but I feel like this last one doesn't count because it was a terrible call that forced us to not have a clean sheet.
Okay, yes, it wasn't in the run of play, but it's still the last 5 we haven't been able to keep a clean sheet, and
we need that goal differential.
Yeah, the goal differential is really like, I swear it's going to be one of those things that it's going to hurt us again at the very end when it's like, oh yeah, you guys almost made the playoffs, but your goal differential didn't allow you to.
This is one of those stats that I think is going to be it, like you said, it's a deciding factor, but also like the one sand pit we couldn't dig out of. We got our offense working. We got our sub system figured out. We've gotten players back from injury. All the things that we needed to happen are happening. But the hardest part is digging out of the amount of goals that were scored on us in the first half of the season.
Yeah. I mean, not to keep bagging on them, but at least we're not Chicago with like a minus 19.
It's a lot. Something like double digits, and no one wants that.
Okay, well, this is basically all games from here on out are must wins, essentially. If we have a bad game, we need to hope that everybody that's in contention right above us has a bad game. So we can't leave it to chance that way. We need to win all these matches coming up. So this is another must win. We're the first game of the weekend, so a win can move us up. But then again, we got to now bide our time for the rest of the weekend and see the standings kind of flip around as the way they do in NWSL, where all the points are so tight. Again, if I go back to this, the point differential right now between us and the first place Thorns is 8. It's only 8 points. Like, it's not a huge, and it's only 12 points from the Red Stars in last place all the way to the top. So throughout the entire league, it's a 12-point spread. That is a very tight, point spread. That's why, we named this whole thing the race to the playoff chaos, because it's exactly what it is.
Yeah, and when you're looking at how teams are doing, like this is the time of the year where teams either get hot, get their engines going and everybody's clicking the way you want them to, or they start to skid. Like I know the Spirit is kind of not doing so hot right now. They've lost a couple, they've had a couple ties. So it's like, what are they doing? Because they've definitely fallen in the standings. But I will say, if you're looking to watch other games, to pay attention to the Portland versus Racing Louisville game. Sophia Smith is out, so I'm curious what Racing's going to do. We kind of really want Portland to win this one.
Yeah, we need Racing to lose.
Yeah. If Portland wins and Racing loses, we win, we jump up. Same thing with the Reign versus Orlando. If there is a way for both of them to lose, so in this case, like a draw, but preferably both teams lose, because they are sitting in 6th and 7th place right now, and we are 1 point behind Orlando, 3 points behind the Reign. Either way, we got to get up there, and it'll be this weekend's going to be make things bonkers.
Yeah, a draw will be ideal, mainly because it'll just get us that much closer without widening any gap. So
right. And
with that,
to clarify, because I just want to put it into the universe, what we mean is a draw for the Reign and Orlando, not for Angel City. We would greatly appreciate another win, another 3 points. I'm just going to put this out there.
We need a
draw. A draw for the Reign versus Orlando.
We need to keep ourselves undetweeded for including the next match. So with that, we're about to preview Kansas City versus Angel City, playing at Children's Mercy Park. So we're going to be playing away. We actually don't have another home game till like the end of next month.
So it's a month from now. We'll see you at BMO, but we've got some games in between, and that's the important part.
Yeah. All right.
Alrighty. So into the nitty gritty of what to expect with this game. So, like we said, Kansas City is heating up. They're on a little bit of a streak. They were boasting on Instagram. Not boasting. They were very kindly being excited about this stat that they played 410 minutes straight of shutout soccer. So nothing was scored on them for 410 minutes, which is basically 4 games. 4-game shutout on average.
You know, I'm all for having a little bit more excitement in the team social media accounts.
Absolutely.
They don't have to be so nice and proper, or I mean, keep it family friendly, but don't keep it give it a little
talk a little mess. And this one, 80 French, their starting keeper. We love you, but we were hoping to light that goal up. Like, if you have watched a hockey game, when a goal gets scored, there's a little light on top of the goal that is a little alarm, like a little siren light that spins around. If we could have that, I would really appreciate it, because I want to see it every time we score. But that said,
we have those smoke cannons that are in the corners, but it's someone pressing the button, and it's a little late. Smoke cannons go off, and then it's oh wait, that was offside.
Oops.
Yeah.
Definitely. So, players to watch for Kansas City. You may remember this one from last season when we were up 1-0 and they equalized when we played Kansas City. But Lola Bonta, who lit up social media for 100 million years because of their goal celebration, she's just a threat. She is so good at what she does. She's great in the midfield. She's great scoring.
And she's a twerking machine. Please tell the listeners, what this goal celebration was.
So they equalized. Lola Bonta scores and pulls up like she's hurt.
She pulled a hammy.
Legit, yeah, her team rushes over. Legit, I think they honestly thought she was injured, because none of them looked like they were in on the joke. And so she's limping, hopping around, and then just stops and squats over and starts twerking. She was fine. This was planned. And it was one of those, I hate how good this is. I hate that you just scored on my team. This is just so dumb. And then multiple men's soccer players, international female players, it was just everywhere for months. And I'm that was on my team. She scored on my team and did that. I don't want to see this anymore.
So when that clip comes up every now and then, I'm and first reactions always, because I forget that it was against us, I'm always like, yeah, we need more of this. And then I look in the background and I'm like, wait, that background looks familiar. And then, so there's always this process. Right. There's always this process of like, this is great. Wait, what?
Yeah, it feels like ripping the Band-Aid off.
Yeah, and then you're like, again. Oh, that was against us.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that
and recently
does that
there was
same roller coaster every time.
And recently, I need to look for it too, but there was a men's player that basically pulled, and like it, like I think the NWSL like posted it, and like he did it like straight up, like this is an homage to
it's called the La Bonta now.
Yeah.
It's so good, and I hate it so much.
All right, let's move on, because I'm gonna see it, and then my phone's listening to me, and then it's gonna show it to me again, and I'm gonna be like,
yeah. Right. So next up, in true Angela fashion, I have to get a defender in here. This one is a little heartstring pull for me, because it's AD French. AD is dope. They're a new mom. AD and their wife have a new little baby who's adorable. AD is the past backup keeper / starting keeper, because she has a few starting caps for the women's national team. Those of you who remember the Olympics, I'm blanking on when this happened now because everything is a blur, but Alyssa Nair gets hurt. It was the Olympics. Alyssa Nair gets hurt. AD French comes in cold. And Alyssa Nair had been a freaking brick wall the whole game. Her knee is injured. It's a whole thing. It's awful. AD has to finish the game out and does a fantastic job. But that is a hard task to come in and handle. But AD French, third in my series of when this keeper is in the goal gets smaller. Just a fantastic player overall, a super dope human. So, yeah, defense.
Yeah,
waving my little defense flag.
I think I've got another off-season idea where I'm gonna go through all our scripts, and then I'm gonna rank the teams, basically, of build your team of all the
my team is
players.
Just defense. It's like who was it? Oh, I don't remember
fantasy team of just defenders.
Yeah. I don't remember what podcast I was listening to. Oh, no. It was when I was at the WNBA All-Star weekend. I was listening to Sue Bird and Candace Parker talk, and they're talking about how, you model your game after players who have come before you. And Sue is just talking. She's like, I understand being a point guard in my position. I can't have 5 point guards on a team. I can't have 5 of me because I'm not tall enough to play multiple positions in the post or anything like that. And that would legit be my team. It's all defense, all playmakers and defense, but no one to actually score. It'd basically be ACFC last season, where we just couldn't get the ball forward. I love the tactics of defenders and backlines and defensive lines, and literally defense in every sport is my favorite. It was my favorite positions to play because I love the ability to be oh no, my team's gonna win because I'm gonna prevent you from scoring. And that's really what it is the prevention of the other team scoring. That's why I love defense.
Yeah.
And then finally for Kansas City, we have Michelle Cooper. She was the second draft pick in the 2022 draft, the last draft. I don't remember my years right now. Dates for me make no sense lately. But in the last draft, when we got Alyssa Thompson, she was the second pick right after her. An absolute fantastic player. You might remember that.
Oh yeah.
There's been goals scored very quickly this season in the NWSL. We have one. Lynn Williams has one. It's bonkers. Michelle Cooper now holds the record for the fastest goals scored in NWSL regular season. 22 seconds.
That's insane. I go back go back on our Instagram because we that was
we posted it.
That wasn't just a story that went away. It was a post. We were like, this is what's happening on the NWSL.
Yeah, because it happened like back to back. Yeah.
And 22 seconds fits in the Instagram like posting
in the clip
window. Like it's quick enough for a clip. So there you go.
Exactly. And then the one thing I forgot to put in my notes, but I just remembered, Michelle Cooper kicked off Hot Shot weekend of everybody cramping and catching amazing gifs and clips of their reactions to drinking those hot shots, which help kind of override your body's nervous system to release a cramp. She was the first one.
Hot shot's not that bad.
We
did them as a challenge right after all of that stuff, but yeah, not that bad. Yeah.
I think it's a little different when you've been running around and you're a little dehydrated and your body hurts.
True. Paige in her last pod was like, when she was asked the question of how far do you run, because they all have the trackers on them, right? And that's part of like
training,
player management, player load management, all of that stuff. She's like, if you include warm-ups, because they're also running around during warm-ups and stuff, they're probably running a good 8-9 miles.
That is not for me.
Like, yeah. Jeez. And then, if you go back to the World Cup and, watching those matches where we were both like, is this on fast forward? Are we getting like a sped up version of the game? Because they are running like crazy. Yeah, they can be running like crazy. So yeah, maybe the hot shots are a little different after you run a couple miles.
Yeah, it was 6 miles. Definitely. So
so we've got
let's get back to it.
Michelle Cooper is your forward at number 17, and then AD French. You don't really have to look for her because keeper. There's only one spot they can be in. Again, though, going back to my last point, one of my other episodes,
unless you can draw them out.
Yeah, unless you can draw them out, or unless you're losing the game, might as well get up into one of those corner kicks at the end of the game. And then we've got twerking machine Lola Labonta. Hopefully, we don't give her a chance to do it again. Yeah. But she's in the midfield, number 10. And then we've had this conversation where at the beginning when we started the pod, we were focusing on only the opposing players. Mm-hmm. Then we realized, what? We're an Angel City pod. We need to give our Angel City players some love. And now I think we've gone through almost everybody.
Yeah.
And you text me right before we're gonna start.
Like, who do I talk about? Because I did not think that I would need to track who I had broken down, what players I had talked about. I texted you, I texted Eva, I texted 3 other people, asked my mom, asked my aunt, who should I talk about? And they're like, who haven't you talked about? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know where I'm at in the list. So don't worry. Next season, I will be very much more organized. Yes, I know I could do it for this season, but why? Why? I'm already in the thick of the chaos. I'm just going to go with it. Let's stick with my heart. So in my heart of hearts, my heart belongs to the French at the moment. Clarice Lebion, absolutely having the season of a lifetime. There was a great article put out by, I believe, the Sporting Tribune and Cameron Nia about Clarice's transition from the French leagues over here to the NWSL, to the US, and how she's been able to adapt to the physicality of the game here, the skill level of the game here, the training level of the game. I sent you that article. I was like, you have to read this. It's so good. It's really interesting because she talks about how she wasn't prepared for how the team trains here in the US and how other teams train, in the sense that it's basically game level competition at practice. Whereas in France, it's much more drills and endurance and conditioning and some strategy, some tactical stuff, but not 3-on-3 matchups, 1-on-1s, different things like that. And she said that it was a big learning curve, but she realizes already how much better of a player she is because of that transition.
And I think all the players are also getting used to California weather and the fact that they're in Thousand Oaks, which is like 1,000,000 degrees today.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 100. It was easily probably 105 up there.
It was okay. I live out here. It was 102 when I picked up my daughter, and I parked in the shade under a tree. It was 102 degrees, and then as we were driving home, it went up to 107.
That's awful.
And they're a little bit further, in that
into
valley,
that valley. Yeah. So that's a big adjustment, temperature-wise, conditioning-wise, but Clarice has had such an interesting story here with Angel City. Majority of last season and the beginning of this season, in the previous coaching tenure, she was very much a midfielder, played great, did a great job, was comfortable in that position. But when you would see these little sparks of life, whenever she got the ball and was attacking to score or helping set up a play. And once that transition occurred, there's discussions of what position do you play? What position do you want to play? Where can we help you grow? That kind of thing. And she definitely wanted to be more offensively minded. And so that's kind of where the Tweed tenure has taken her. That was a lot of T's, the Tweed tenure. But she's just been on a tear, multiple assists, multiple goals in the last few games. Like I said earlier, she scored against the Reign in beautiful fashion. She's an incredibly intelligent player. She's very strategic about what she does. You can see her doing the calculations. She's got galaxy brain going on when she's on the pitch, and just formulas and graphs and things how
scanning everything.
Yeah,
she's got that little Terminator
exactly little computer computer vision. Yeah, that's what it feels like watching her, and I'm really excited to see how she plays in this upcoming game, how she grows with the team, because it's fantastic to watch her play. And the nice thing is that in one of the last either pre or post games, I don't remember, Becky Tweed said, our starters are no different than our substitutes in the sense that they're all there to make an impact on the game. And just because you're not starting one game doesn't mean you're not good enough. It just means that tactically the matchup is different, or we want you to come in the second half and be explosive. And it's very exciting to see that, because it's the theory that we talked about before that Kristen Press said the national team had of these are your game changers, of okay, who can we bring in at halftime, at the 60th minute, at the 75th minute, to just bring the spark we need to lock a game down or to score. Clarice has been one of those players on both ends of it, as a starter and as a sub. And she's playing great. I hope it continues. Shout out Clarice Lebion.
And if you need any help with Clarice will be playing in the midfield or as a forward, kind of attacking mid-forward-ish player, number 29 on the field. And that's going to be in a black jersey or a
gray?
White with some
whitish gray
pattern thing on it.
Yeah, a little map, but it doesn't look like a map from far away. It just looks like a design.
Yeah.
So, all right.
History between the teams. How we've already talked about, we've got to keep our eye on them just because they're on a tear. They're on a hot streak right now. But historically...
Historically, we'll start with this season. This current season, we played them back in May at Angel City. At BMO. Same thing. We won 3-2. It was one of the few wins and few bright spots of the beginning of the season. So that was a great way to kind of start the season against Kansas City. Historically, so last season and this season, we have won 2 of those matchups, and there was a draw in the other one. The draw one was the game that Lola Bonta twerked. We have won the other 2 matchups. Let's hope we make it, 3 wins for Angel City and a draw, no wins for Kansas City. I like the trend we've got going on.
This is the type of record we should be having with all the teams, not a record of 8 matches in 2 years.
0-6. Let's just like, oh, yeah.
Even though those matches did not count because they were Challenge Cup, and we're referring to the Challenge Cup, giving us all these extra matches with West Coast teams. Still, it hurts when you see that 0-6. Oh no, 6-1. 6-1. We got one draw with them. Yeah. But no. 6-1-1 now.
Yeah, 6-1-1.
They got 6. Yeah. Okay, so that's the other team. We're talking about Kansas. Historically, we're the better team. Hopefully, we keep that thing going.
Yeah. All right. So I would love to see us jump a little bit after this weekend. I've got all my fingers and toes, my eyes crossed, everything. I want us to just jump up a little bit.
So this match, it's gonna be one of those NWSL After Dark type matches.
It is
where they're playing. So they're going to be playing on Friday, September 1st. Mm-hmm. They're going to be playing in Kansas. First game of the weekend. They're going to be playing in Kansas City at Children's Mercy Park at 5 p.m. for us, which means for them it is 8. So totally NWSL After Dark over there at that match. We might get a little bit of fireworks, a little bit of excitement. But yeah, if you're going out there, let us know. If you're a listener from those parts, let us know. And broadcast schedule. Of course, Paramount Plus is going to be the national broadcast for all our matches. And like we mentioned last time, if you are a TV subscriber but don't have Paramount Plus, most likely you can log into CBS Sports with your TV login. And I believe that qualifies you to watch the Golazo Network, which is streaming all of the matches anyways. So you got those two options. Those are the US options to watch it. If you're international, you're going to be watching it on nwslsoccer.com. So the National Women's Soccer League soccer.com. And that will be the international feed. I've never been outside of the country watching a match, so I don't know what the broadcast is. I'm guessing it's the same announcers as the US one. And then if you are not around a TV and still need to hear the hopeful win that we have to keep ourselves undetweeded, go ahead.
And if you need your corner kicks, sponsored by Cedars-Sinai.
Exactly. Tune in to iHeartRadio. It's the English language radio broadcast. Open the app, download the app, open it, search Angel City. They have their own channel on there. It's pretty easy to find. You'll see the logo. And you'll hear our local broadcasters, our, home radio team that will be broadcasting that game. Like we said, you'll hear the Corner Kicks by Cedars-Sinai. You'll hear all the local ads, all that good stuff. Follow us if you're at this point of the pod. You might like us. You might like us a little bit. Just admit it, just a little bit. So go ahead and give us a subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, a bunch more places. Check them all out. Go to casualfc.com and you'll get all the pod links from there.
Definitely. If you are on social media, which I'm sure you are, most people are, you can follow us on just about every popular platform at Casual FC Pod. So Instagram, Twitter, Threads, and TikTok, and YouTube, Casual FC Pod. That's where you can find us. Tell your friends about us. Post on your story. I hear it brings good luck to you and the team. So I'm just saying, Mercury's in retrograde. We need all the help we can get. So just be excited. Tell people about it. Laugh about it. Whatever you want to do. Keep talking about it. Finally, if you feel so inclined, if you feel that generous and you have the means to do so, feel free to help support the pod by buying us a coffee. Check out our link in our socials or go to buymeacoffee.com/casualfcpod. And buy me a coffee is spelled like regular words, no weird abbreviations or anything crazy.
No café.
And on that note, we will see you online. We'll see you in a month at BMO. Enjoy the game, friend.
Enjoy. Let's get those 3 points.
Bye.